Jim Crow Museum Search Menu, explaining the term Red Nigger, May 2006. Jim Crow Museum. Question: what does the term Red Nigger really signify? What groups are racially categorized by this discriminatory term? Christina Johnson, Big Rapids, Michigan. Answer: the word nigger is rivaled only by the invective cunt as a term of opprobrium in the United States. Nigger, despite attempts to defang it, remains in many quarters a word thick with scornful reproach and contempt. It is common to place a word in front of nigger to create an insult toward a group. For example, sand nigger insults Arabs and Arab Americans. Boat nigger contemptuously refers to recently arrived Cuban Americans or anyone from the Caribbean seeking asylum in the United States. European nigger and potato nigger are terms of scorn for poor Irish, especially new immigrants. Prairie nigger, timber nigger, and swamp nigger are all insults against Native Americans. Rice nigger belittles persons of mixed Asian and African ancestry. Taco nigger defames Mexicans, especially ones with dark skin. Snow nigger and ice nigger denigrate Inuits. Rice nigger and slant-eyed niggers are slurs directed at Asians. And nigger lover is a derogatory term used to characterize whites who befriend blacks. Nigger is the ultimate racial insult. The term red nigger has been used in several ways: as a racial diss against Native Americans or people with mixed Native American ancestry, as an insult against African Americans with light skin, regardless of their ancestral mix, and as denigration of communists, almost exclusively ones with dark skin. In his entry, Freedom Summer, the prominent blogger Meteor Blades reminiscences: in the small town of the South where I was born and lived until I was 9 years old, white people called us red niggers. In truth, our family was a mix of Scottish, African American, and Seminole. Most of us were light-skinned enough to pass white when we rode up to Americus or Valdosta. This deception got us into places we couldn't otherwise have gone, like front row center at the movie theater instead of the coloreds-only balcony. Back home, however, where we were known, it was another story. Blade's experience is not surprising. In the 1950s and 1960s, the years he was young in the American South, Native Americans were often placed side by side or barely above African Americans on the racial hierarchy. Jim Crow laws and Jim Crow social etiquette often included prohibitions against social equality for so-called Indians. African Americans and Native Americans were denied white drinking fountains, cafes, restrooms, movie theaters, libraries, swimming pools, and buses. Indians were considered inferior to whites, and it was not uncommon to hear Native Americans referred to as niggers or red niggers. Unfortunately, these slurs resurface when there are contemporary conflicts between whites and Native Americans. Affirmative apartheid. It should also be noted that the modern white supremacist movement considers Native Americans to be one of many mud people threatening the whiteness of the United States. The white power band Vaginal Jesus recently gained notoriety with the album Affirmative Apartheid, distributed by Unholy Records. The album, with a growing underground following, includes the songs Million Monkey March, Mandatory Abortion for Niggers, and Indians Are Red Nigger Skunks. Ironically, the band left Resistance Records, another white supremacist record distributor, because their songs were not considered hardcore racist. In The Garbage Man, an essay I wrote to explain why I collect racist objects, there is this quote: "I bought my first racist object when I was 12 or 13. My memory of that event is not perfect. It was the early 1970s in Mobile, Alabama, the home of my youth. The item was small, probably a Mammy salt shaker. It must have been cheap because I never had much money. And it must have been ugly because after I paid the dealer, I threw the item to the ground, shattering it. It was not a political act. I simply hated it, if you can hate an object. I do not know if he scolded me. He almost certainly did. I was what folks in Mobile, blacks and whites, indelicately referred to as a red nigger. In those days, in that place, he could have thrown that name at me without incident. In my youth, African Americans with lightly colored skin were often called matter-of-factly red Negroes, or insultingly, red niggers. The week before he was killed, Malcolm X was telephoned a death threat. "You are one dead red nigger." It would be hard to find a civil rights leader of mixed ancestry who did not hear the slur, red nigger, at some time. There were many race/color-based terms for African Americans with light complexions. High yellows, low browns, red bones, for example. These terms, often pejorative, have been in large part replaced by value-neutral terms, multicultural, biracial, and multiracial. Today,